Space Vampires, aka Lifeforce, 1985.
They watched. They waited. Now their time has come. Out of the depths of space, the ultimate terror. Lifeforce. In the blink of an eye, the terror begins.
Greetings, fiends. Today we're revealing the naked truth behind the 1985 sci-fi horror film Space Vampires, aka Lifeforce. Directed by Tobe Hooper and starring Steve Railsback, Peter Firth, Frank Finlay, Mathilda May, and Patrick Stewart. Space Vampires plot. A race of space vampires arrives in London and infects the populace, beginning an apocalyptic descent into chaos. Space Vampires becomes Lifeforce. The movie was promoted and filmed under the title The Space Vampires, which is the title of Colin Wilson's novel. However, producers Golan and Globus Cannon Films reportedly spent nearly $25 million in hopes of creating a full-blown blockbuster. They felt that this title made it sound like a typical Cannon low-budget exploitation movie. The title was changed to Lifeforce, and it was released in the United States in an edited version, which brought in less than half of its production cost. Space Girl Mathilda May. For her audition as Space Girl, French actress Mathilda May had to learn her lines phonetically because she didn't know any English at the time. In fact, when she was asked to disrobe, she excused herself to call her manager first, afraid that she was auditioning for an adult movie. It wasn't until she was assured that this was a science fiction film that she relented. Close shave. Tobe Hooper once revealed that in the early stages of shooting, they waxed Mathilda May's pubic hair off completely, thinking it would make her look less nude. It didn't. In fact, it was worse because then her vulva was exposed, making her look even younger. So they had her grow a bikini strip of pubes back. May had to frequently remove her pants and panties to allow Hooper to inspect her. Makeup artist Sandra Zelby talked about it in an interview. Quote, "We had this big discussion about Mathilda May. Hooper said that he wanted all of her body hair off. And I said, you can't do that, Tobe. She's a young woman. At the time, she was 18. 90% of the film, she was on camera nude while walking around. You can't take all the body hair away." He said, "Well, I want the pubic hair as short as possible and lighten it up. I don't really want to see it. So every morning I was on my knees trimming and coloring and making it all look perfect." Unquote. Hanging out on set. Based on behind-the-scenes photos of a very naked Mathilda May chatting with cast and crew while waiting to film, she was very comfortable with the nudity and didn't bother wearing a robe in between takes. In fact, some people joked it was more awkward for them because they had to force themselves to keep looking at her eyes the entire time. And that wasn't easy because she was a gorgeous teen with an almost perfect figure. During filming of May's first scenes, there was a suspiciously high number of carpenters and set constructors present, so the remainder of her scenes were filmed on a closed set. Mathilda May not. Editor John Grover said in a 2015 interview that a lot of stuff they filmed involving the nude Mathilda May was completely unusable because of censorship problems. And he was surprised that they could keep other shots in the film. He said, quote, Mathilda May, when she came down the stairs the first time, I absolutely gasped. I'd never seen such a graphic shot. Not for a commercial film in those days. That sort of thing was just never allowed." Unquote. Indeed, for the shot of Space Girl walking up the stairs naked, shadows were added in post-production to censor Mathilda May's body to avoid getting an X rating. 1,000 Girl Riot. Over 1,000 actresses were considered or interviewed for the role of Space Girl. Tobe Hooper said it was incredibly difficult to find an actress willing to play the role because it was basically just walking around totally naked most of the time and then having sex. He said in a Blu-ray feature that so many of the English actresses who auditioned refused to fully disrobe for the part, and that they had to extend the search beyond the United Kingdom. At one casting session, a group of German actresses even conspired against Hooper by all refusing to do nude scenes. They later found out that one of them wanted the role so badly that she had talked the others into rioting. Associate producer Michael Kagan said the reason they chose French actress Mathilda May, who couldn't even speak English, was because she was one of the few who was willing to strip completely, and because her experience as a ballerina helped her move in disturbing ways. Luckiest makeup artist ever. Makeup artist Nick Malley averaged 70 to 90 hours a week during production, most of it applying makeup to Mathilda May's full nude body to make it look perfect and flawless, even though he admitted in an interview that her 18-year-old body was already pretty close to perfect. He joked once that he had no issue with applying the makeup. In fact, it was his favorite part of the job. Tobe Hooper's greatest memory. For years after the film was released, when asked what the first thing is that comes to mind when someone mentions Lifeforce today, Tobe Hooper's answer is a very succinct and timid, Mathilda May. Tobe Hooper, The Cannon Trilogy. This was the first movie in director Tobe Hooper's 3-movie deal with the Cannon Group and Golan Globus Productions. The subsequent films he directed were Invaders from Mars from 1986 and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, also from 1986. Eyes Without Some Fangs. Tobe Hooper hoped to cast Billy Idol as the second vampire, but his touring dates conflicted with the shooting schedule. O'Bannon versus Hooper. Tobe Hooper came up with the idea of incorporating Halley's Comet into the screenplay, as the comet was going to pass by Earth 1 year following the movie's release. Screenwriter Dan O'Bannon was displeased with the end result, as he disliked the addition and would later remark that having Tobe Hooper direct a film was comparable to letting Bozo the Clown helm a movie. Make it so. Patrick Stewart has said several times that Tobe Hooper was his favorite director to work with. However, Stewart has said in interviews that he was disappointed at the cuts made to the movie. I hope you enjoyed this look at space vampires, aka Lifeforce. As always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.